Hello guys, thank you for the wait. And the wait is definitely worth it. This is going to be Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals, Gades present Retry with Crrool and ZnTSaito. Have fun guys.
Welcome everybody to Lufia 2 Rise of the Sinistrals. Now, right out of the gate, Shuri, could you let us know what the winner is of the donation incentive for the names?
Yes, for sure. I'm going to refresh just in case. Give me a small second.
I guess while Shuri is going to look this up for us, let me do some quick introductions. My name's Crrool. With me here is ZnTSaito. We're going to be doing some Lufia 2. It's bound to be an interesting race. We're number 1 and number 2 on the board. ZnTSaito is the current world record holder. I'm the runner-up right now, so...
Yep.
We used to do this a lot, actually. We've done so many races back in the day.
Like at least once a week.
Yeah, there were times where this was multiple times a week, or even multiple times a day, I think.
Yeah, so depending on how we are and the time was.
So yeah, I wanted to finish you guys. The name of our hero is going to be Heroes, so very easy.
Fantastic. Now we're also going to be cutting off the no manipulation incentive, as the manipulation will actually start right as we get started. So yeah, how about we get started and we'll talk more once we're in the game.
Sure thing.
Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck, ZnTSaito.
Good luck, you too.
So what the incentive has not been met, so you guys are going to have a little bit easier this time around.
Yeah, so it seems. So we actually we noticed that that wasn't likely to be met anymore. We agreed beforehand that we're going to be doing the manipulation specifically for the catfish. We'll explain why that's important in a moment, but past that we will be making some safety saves just for the sake of marathon safety. Small missed input there. So there's going to be some small differences. Basically, what happens in Lufia 2, to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what the story is about, we are Maxim, and we're a monster hunter. And lately, monsters have been getting more and more common around here. So it's basically our job to try and see if we can do something about this. But before we do, we're going to go into a quick little tutorial sequence. The first 5 minutes of the game, well, 4-ish minutes of the game will mostly just be tutorial. We're going to get instructions about all of our skills, all of our abilities, which button does what, that sort of stuff. The old man here talking about that. I'm just going to shoot the jelly. I think you used a different strat for that one.
The old man is simply like an unskippable cutscene for like 3 minutes.
And in the process, we are going to be getting our very first major spell of sorts in this room, Reset. And Reset is kind of a spell that's meant to prevent you from soft blocking in the game. Basically what it does is it sets you back to the way that the room started as you entered it. So, if you mess up a puzzle, you can reset the room and get it once again, or try it once again. We will, however, be using that for some minor glitching later on. There's a few minor glitches that we can do using the reset spell.
Well, as the game is kind of old, there is a little bit of fun stuff you can do with a reset spell, because the game only checks what happens in the room, and sometimes it does not reset as the room was, like you started in.
Yeah, so this room, we actually have to kill both of the enemies before we can move on. You got 2-1?
I also got 2 jellies.
Okay.
Do we have a small time for the donation?
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Because we got a €100 donation by Sparky.
Hey!
And the comment says, meow.
Meow.
Here we get the last button that we need, that's going to be important here. If we hold R, we can turn without actually moving a tile, which can be used for a variety of puzzles. With that, we're done with the tutorial cave. We're going to be heading out. We do have to be careful to avoid the jelly that's in the next room.
Super lucky for me. Jelly is on my side.
Not so much for me, but I could stun him very easily. There's going to be a small difference time-wise, as you can see, but there's a lot that can happen, especially in the second half of the run. Since we're doing no manipulation past the catfish, catfish is like the most important part of the manip, right?
Definitely.
But past that point, we're going to just take safety saves and try and make it work the regular way. So we'll see how it goes. First, we get a little bit of a cutscene with Tia. She's our childhood friend, and well, she might be having a slight bit of a crush on us. That'll become apparent reasonably quick in the game. But she's cooked us a meal, so we get this little cutscene. And honestly, this cutscene is both a nice break during the manipulation as well as one of the most annoying cutscenes, because every time you mess up the manipulation past this point, you have to sit through it once again. That tends to happen a lot.
Well, that indeed is true. I can tell you about it. I've seen this cutscene so much. It's horrible. And for the manipulation, like this part outside after the cutscene is the hardest part if you want to have a hard part. Because you have to frame perfect every text box there is, and you have to dodge this Shield of Doom. Frame perfect.
One advantage here is whenever you're mashing, you can use either the A or L button, and by holding the button after the text box has started, the basically the text box will go past frame perfectly.
Yep.
I got unlucky there with an encounter, so small difference there, but we're gonna it'll be fine. We'll get there.
There are so many spots where the time... Oh, I got a double mushroom. That's really good.
Yeah,
but there are so many spots where you can catch up on time. And a single lizard. Wow.
Yeah, so I only got a single mushroom, and that's actually not a good thing here. Later on in the run, we do need some extra experience in order to... And I got a double lizard. You're getting all the good luck here right now.
Almost saved.
That would have been rather bad.
That is true.
Yeah, essentially, we need some extra experience in order to be fast enough for the second boss of the run, the catfish, which is also the most dangerous boss in the run. And if you get a double mushroom, the chances of actually getting the level up are a little bit better. Depending on how many doubles and singles you get, it might still work out either way. But I think in our practice race this afternoon, I got a double, you didn't, and you were like 14 experience short?
Yeah, 14 experience. So I had to fight, do an extra fight, and we don't talk about what happened after this extra fight.
Yeah, it's that was quite something that happened today.
Yep.
So we get to hear about, you know, this evil that's taking over the world, and it's causing more monsters to spawn. And she's telling this to us because this is, you know, we're basically the person able to stop this. So it's our destiny to find other people and find this evil and stop it. However, in this category, we're actually not going to do that, because this is Gades percent. And what Gades percent actually means is we're going to be fighting Gordovan Gades, which is the first super boss of the game. He's quite difficult. You're not supposed to beat him. You can. It is actually hard-coded into the game that you can beat him. And with the right strats, it isn't actually that difficult to do so. You do actually get a reward out of killing him if you successfully do so. So we're going to be beating him, and he's actually also one of the final bosses in the game. But we're only going to fight him in his first and strongest form.
The only time you see this form again is actually in the end game.
So yeah, once that's done, we're going to move on to the Catfish Cave. There's been a lot of earthquakes going on in town, and basically as a result, a lot of people haven't been getting any sleep anymore. So you know, we're gonna do some research to see if we can figure out what's going on, and if we can put a stop to it. Now, the boss fight here is actually one of the hardest fights in the game, just because we're only one character, we're severely underleveled, it's got very powerful attacks. So we're actually going to be gaining one extra level as part of our RNG manipulation, and we're going to be killing the boss through a manipulated fight. So the way that the fight will work, will always get exactly 4 turns, and we'll kill him with, I think, 1 HP more than he actually has. And I think on top of it all, he'll only ever be able to use physical attacks. Oh, I got the level up.
Yeah, I had to do a double fight.
Do we have time for another donation?
By all means.
Well, Shadow Killer just donated 10 euros saying, "Shoutouts to my boys Saito and Crrool. It was a lot of fun working on this route with you guys years ago. Good luck with everything, especially clowns."
Oh no,
Oh,
not
boy.
clowns.
Not the clowns. You'll see why clowns later. But yeah, Shadow Killer, now that we get to him, he's actually somebody we wanted to mention later on regardless. He's actually one that's helped a lot on finding the RNG manipulations in this run and helping us optimize the route as it is.
It all started with a stupid idea of mine. I was once telling him, man, I think we can skip Fire Dagger. I think in Gades % that's possible, and I was like, let's go for anything. And then we actually started routing, and he found a insanely good manipulation, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, this manipulation is still used in the world record run today, so it's a lot of the strats that that Shadow Killer came up with, along with Saito, and a little bit of help from myself, are still used in the record route.
Yep.
The record route basically manipulates the entire run, whereas here we're really only manipulating this fight, and that's for that specific drop right there, the Catfish Jewel. It's a 1 in 8 drop normally, and it's an incredibly powerful item to be able to use later on. We'll use it on the next fight, or next boss fight, to greatly speed up the fight. And on top of it, afterwards we'll sell it for 20,000 gold, which is going to make the money management throughout the later parts of this run significantly easier. Now, before we head out, we're going to go over to this room, and we'll find Tia again. And, well, she came after us, and she's being attacked by monsters. Okay, that was scary. I got outsped there.
No, that's normal.
I hadn't actually seen that happen in a while. So I got a little bit scared that I might die there, because I hadn't
As
healed.
long as you're above 10 hit points, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
You will outspeed the next because you got the level up.
Yeah, exactly. It's just scary to see it happening,
True.
especially in a marathon setting.
Well, we haven't saved, so if anyone get like horrible speed stats, I think... Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's me again, right? Oh.
You'll be fine. Yeah, we actually heal right after these fights because we're gonna get Tia, and she has the ability to cast Strong, which is our first heal spell. Nice little sync on the screen there. I survived with 3 HP, which just goes to show how clutch that is. Now, on the overworld, you'll see us occasionally going into the menu and getting out again. And this is actually a speed tech we'll be using a lot throughout the entire run. Basically what it does is every time you go into the menu and cancel again, it counts it as a screen transition. And the thing with screen transitions in this game is that the first 4 tiles after a screen transition, it's impossible to get an encounter. So by flashing it occasionally, we greatly reduce the encounters on the overworld, and that just makes the trip significantly easier on us. So here we're going to buy 4 escapes, 2 warps, and we're going to buy some mini shields. The mini shield is a piece of armor that we'll be using later on in the run, and it's mainly because of its secondary ability. Most items in the game have secondary abilities called IP attacks. I think IP stands for Ikari points, and they're basically extra powerful abilities that you can use after you've taken damage. Now, the ability for the mini shield is to boost somebody's attack power by 1/8, I believe. Or something along those lines. I don't know the exact number.
Come again, I actually was focusing a little bit.
The mini shield, by how much does it do the attack power again?
1/8.
Yeah, I thought it was 1/8.
1/8 or 1/4.
Yeah, either way, it gives quite a boost to the attack power of whomever is being targeted. And you can actually use it more than once and still gain some benefits from it. Now, the final boss of this particular category is a super boss, so having that little boost in attack power actually saves a very significant amount of time later on. These are 2 thieves, by the way. They're going to try to steal the crown.
No. These are the best thieves in the world with the elite guards of the king. So no joking around. Like they walk out just with a crown and nobody moving.
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, we're gonna go after them. See if we can get the crown back.
Do we have a time for another donation?
Of course.
We have Q with 74 euros. And he says, get the capture monster. So by this, the capture monster incentive has been met.
Whoa!
So that brings us to an interesting conundrum, because one of us is going to be backtracking for Fumi later, and one of us is going to be getting Blaze. Any preference for you, Saito?
Let's say I will go for Fumi.
Okay, I'll go for Blaze. So Blaze normally is a little bit more out of the way, but because of how much backtracking needs to be done, they're actually probably about the same. Difference is very small, if even that. I love how we're doing these rooms completely synced from right now. Okay, you're like a few frames ahead, but
Yeah, but only because I have my own movements.
yeah. So this is the first time that you're going to see that reset that we mentioned. By resetting while we're on the button, the game actually thinks that the button was already pressed as we got there. And as a result, we don't actually have to pick up the pot and go all the way over there.
There's some preferences with every runner coming when you go in the ring menu and changing. I like my menu every time I basically can save a step somewhere or make a safer step at any spot.
This is a color block tile puzzle, and it's always great practice for your movement. Mine's been pretty mediocre so far.
Mine is not better, actually. Did horrible on that this time.
That's okay. See, it's these little things, and this is why I said this. We were joking around about this before, that this would be an incredibly close race, and these are really the parts where it shows, like, just little differences in movement are gonna, at least for this part, make the difference. Even though the real RNG sequences still have to come up. So this is actually one of those RNG sequences. If there's a goblin in the back row, there's a chance that you won't actually kill it in 2 hits, which could potentially cause you to have to do an extra turn.
Because the goblins have 62 lives, and if you're unlucky, you will do like 30 or 31 with the boomerang, so...
Yeah, on a back row, they're technically a damage range. You're very likely to get the range on all of them. Occasionally, you'll see one of the fights where you have to do a 2-turn, but generally you don't see that very often.
It's only scary if you're on world record runs, because you can heal up. And if they get a turn, and if they attack Maxim at this turn, he will die.
Yeah, if you haven't healed up to this point, that can potentially be dangerous here.
Yeah. You will be on 3 hit points at this part, so every attack is deadly, so you can't afford to take any damage.
So, you know, the thieves flush themselves away, we pick up the crown, and we're going to use an escape to get back out. Let's make our way back up. So the king will actually ask us what we want as a reward. Now, you actually get the biggest reward by saying nothing, but because of the manipulation earlier, we can say money, which actually gives us a much shorter text box. It actually saves, I think, like a second, roughly. We do gain 1,000 gold pieces less, but we don't really need the 1,000 gold, because we're going to get like 20,000 anyway from the Catfish Jewel. So we're going to equip the Catfish Jewel at some point, because that'll be an item that we need very much during the next boss. We could try to move on to the next town, but the path is actually locked. Some kids took the key and they started playing a game with it, apparently. And as we get to the dungeon, it turns out that this kid, he's actually lost the key. He was attacked by a monster and he threw the key in order to, you know, try and scare it off. And now the key has gone missing. So we're going to go and try and find it. Now we're also going to be picking up one safety item along the way here. It's just a small little safety, but it's only a few seconds detour, and it really can save a run. In the practice race earlier today, it definitely saved my run on the Regal.
Same for me. It's the only revival item that you can actually use beside going to church in this game for quite a long time.
We'll only be getting the next revival items like 2 bosses before the end. And there is one boss in particular that's very likely to kill you. So having that miracle... miracles are just an instant revive. They fully heal you, full health, full MP. It's just convenient to have. There are more that we can pick up, but most of them are pretty far out of the way. I think we can have up to 3. There's actually one in the room below me here, but it's not really worth it in this particular category. You don't often enough need it to make it worthwhile. It's just a safety item, really. Here we have to lower the water twice in order to be able to move on to the next room. And that's where our next boss is, and also the first major RNG boss, since we will not be manipulating the fight this time around. That is what we agreed on, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We will both save here, and then there should be no RNG. Whoa, the crab is right in front of me.
Yeah, so normally you'd RNG manipulate the fight, making it a lot faster. Normally it's a 5-turn fight exactly every single time. But for the sake of marathon safety, we agreed that we would start doing safety saves from this point onward. Most of the safety saves are really on your way, so they're really quick to make anyway. Here we go, the first major boss of the game, the Regal Goblin. He's got 500 HP, boomerangs do about 30 to 40 health. The Mega Quake does about double that. He can summon companions, which is a real pain when he does that. It's really the one thing you really do not want to see. But I already got my first companion there. Now, you can put him to sleep, but it's actually not guaranteed to work, and yeah, things. Yeah, you seem to have succeeded?
Yep, I succeeded, luckily.
Yeah, I didn't even go for it. We were talking about it before. It's either a 50% or a 25%. And then it still depends on, when does he actually wake up. If he sleeps the entire fight, it's a super free fight. But if he wakes up after a turn, you've effectively still lost quite a bit of time trying to get that. You just use Tia to heal, Mega Quake with Maxim, deal quite a bit of damage to him. Fortunately, he keeps attacking Tia on me, which is better than summoning companions, but it's still not ideal because I do have to keep healing.
He woke up on me after like 3 turns, so I got in like a huge amount of damage. And then he attacked Maxim, so there was an attack on Tia.
Let's see what it's going to be. There we go. Regal Goblin down for me. Now the key is...
Same for me.
Nice. Now the key is actually in the blue chest behind us.
Wait, there's a key in the blue chest?
Yeah, it's actually a key. Would you believe it? We're just going to escape out, though. We don't care about the key. A German runner by the name of Voltus actually found out that the key isn't the trigger to open the door, but the boss is. So you actually don't ever have to actually pick up the key of the door, and they'll just unlock the door anyway.
Saving the whole animation of getting the key.
Yeah, it saves like 4 seconds or something. Actually, like it's a good couple of seconds, because opening up chests does take a little bit of time.
Do we have time for a small donation?
By all means.
We got in €1.11 donation by Silvari. Thank you for your donation, and remember, it doesn't matter how small or big it is, every little bit counts.
So here in Tambal, we're going to meet up with Hilda, who's the innkeeper of the town, and also her brother, who...
has the manliest name ever.
Yeah, he's named Guy.
Absolutely.
He is quite literally named Guy. He's actually quite powerful, and he is one of the people that'll be helping us on our journey. And actually, for this particular category, the strongest character that we're going to get. And now for some shopping. We're going to buy a cookery here, which is just a convenient item for the next boss. We're going to sell the boomerangs as well as that catfish jewel from before. Gets us a bunch of money, So now we can buy spells and boomerangs and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, we get ourselves a few spells here. We get some items as well, and one big item is the Big Boomer, which is essentially the boomerang, but it's better. And the main thing, or the main difference that you see from this point onward between the manipulated run and the non-manipulated run is that in the non-manipulated run you have maybe like 8 of them. Here we have like 40. And that's actually going to make quite a difference, as you'll already see on this upcoming boss fight here. This is probably one of the easiest boss fights in the game. More so a mini-boss, but either way. So take the entire fight, at least the inputs take approximately 8 frames, I think? Something like that.
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, something around that.
So yeah, the entire fight is just really, it's literally frames. Basically what we do is we menued in such a way that the big boomers are in the first slot of our inventory, and by holding L, you mash frame perfect through the entire thing, and by holding left, we'll actually be at the inventory, meaning we'll automatically use the first item in our inventory, which is going to be the big boomers. So now it's, we get the message that Hilda has been kidnapped, so we're gonna go after them. Kamu took Hilda into the tower here, and we're gonna go try and save her. A couple small puzzles here that we have to go through, and I guess while we do these puzzles, host, if you have anything else to talk about, I think now would be a pretty good time. I'm not sure if he heard that, but I'll repeat it for the host real quick. Feel free to just talk about some stuff if you want to.
Yes, we are the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering. We organize bi-monthly gatherings in the Benelux for speedrunners. We're currently streaming our annual event live from Hotel Asteria in Van Rij, the Netherlands. We're raising money for the Dutch Cancer Society, which is a nationwide organization committed to fight cancer while aiming for more cure and higher quality of life for those already battling the disease. All of your donations will go to the Dutch Cancer Society.
Okay, so coming up is actually a frame perfect trick right here. It saves like 8 frames to get it, and I got it. It loses like 2 seconds if you fail it, but it looks very cool.
Got it too.
Nice. It's really, it saves, it doesn't save much at all, but it's a cool little swag strat, and you can actually get it pretty consistently with some practice. Remember back when both me and Saito most actively ran this category, we occasionally used to go for it, and most of the time we wouldn't get it. But over time, we got more consistent at it.
Do we have time for another donation?
Yeah, by all means.
We have a €5 donation by Bry Kitten, who says, "Good luck out there to all the speedrunners, and dubs double double. If you're out there, I love you, and do good."
So, in this room with the key here, I actually bonked into the wall on the left of the doorway, and that's to manipulate the scorpion to move up exactly 1 tile, which is just enough to make sure that he won't actually hit us. Now, on the way towards the key, Saito fought this crab. I'll be fighting it on the way back to get some extra experience. Looks like Saito is too.
Yeah, for me it's like, most of the time it's a hassle to get around it, so fighting it most of the time is more time efficient. But that really depends. On my way to the key, I should have also dodged it, but I thought maybe he moved a little bit further away, but he did not, so that's a little bit unlucky for me.
I've got the frame perfect trick here as well, and then I messed up the movement afterwards, but I got the trick. Gotta love those swag strats, right?
You have to love them.
So next up is actually the, up next we're gonna get up on the next big boss of the run, Kamu. And Kamu actually has a weakness to lightning attacks, which is why we did the equipment the way that we did. You see, we're carrying the Kukri, which is a lightning elemental weapon. We got ourselves Flash, which is a lightning elemental spell, and that's all going to do super effective damage, just making this fight significantly faster. Now, normally we would manipulate the fight in such a way that we would be able to basically use the Kukri every single turn. Because of the setup and, you know, playing it safe, we don't actually do that, so we're just gonna see how this ends up going.
The most dangerous attack here is actually the Sleep Stinger. If he goes for Tia with a Sleep Stinger and she actually goes to sleep, you might have a hard time here.
Yeah, you can... Tia is the main healer that we have with us, so having her asleep can potentially cause some trouble. So far, so good, at least. Now, this boss also has a very rare drop that we might be able to get. It would be kind of cool if we see it, though it's very unlikely to be seen in this run. I think it's like a 3% drop, something like that. It's really low odds.
Yeah, and actually it's quite weak.
Yeah, the main advantage, like in some categories you actually do get it, mainly for money management. So right here it looked as if I had a significantly faster fight because I didn't get any buster attacks and he mostly just started spamming friends of his, like companions. The problem that I'm going to be facing, however, is that my positioning for the next boss fight, the Tarantula, is actually going to be a lot worse than Saito's. During this fight, you kind of want to build up some IP on Guy, so that Guy actually can do his most powerful attack on the next boss fight. Now, Saito's is completely filled up, which means he can actually do that turn 1. Mine is completely empty, which means I definitely cannot do that turn 1. So
I have a very scary moment there because he got me really low with a lot of buster attacks, but luckily he did not get another attack off. That was a really scary fight here.
Yeah, so Saito actually had a bit of a slower fight there, but he's going to be making up that time again on the next boss fight, just because of his IP being a lot better than mine right now. These are just completely RNG parts. You don't, especially if you don't do the manipulation, there's not really anything we can do to influence it. In the manipulated run, we'd set it up in such a way that we're basically completely stacked. In the somewhat older manipulation, when we still picked up the fire dagger, we'd actually have it set up in such a way that Guy would be able to basically kill Tarantula within 3 turns.
Yep.
And even though it's one of the hardest, or probably casually the hardest boss fight in the run, it becomes completely trivial. But not being able to do that attack means I miss out on about 600 damage early on in the fight. And that's quite significant.
Do we have time for another donation?
By all means.
We have Besbin donating €1 saying, Saito, try to avoid Ash Blossom.
Ash on Pot of Greed, it's like a running joke here.
Yeah.
Bespin is one of my best friends. I was his best man at his wedding, so also shoutouts to his beautiful wife. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of cool to see that he's actually going to be, or is actually watching this run as well then. It's always cool to see how many people tune up for this. I mean, I actually had my grandmother sitting in the back earlier. She was the older lady on the couch earlier for those that had been here for a little while. It was really cute, honestly. Yeah, here we're gonna climb the tower again. Normally we don't normally with a manipulated run we wouldn't do this anymore, but because we don't have the manipulation, you have to do this tower. The fire dagger is essentially 100% required weapon to beat the final boss if you do not RNG manipulate, especially at the level that we're at. In retry mode, we get 4 times as much experience in gold, and even then, we're not even nearly to the level where we would want to be if we want to do it manipless. I guess I hadn't mentioned that before, but retry means 4 times as much experience in gold, and it mainly just cuts out a bunch of grinding for the super boss later on. I got the frame perfect trick again.
We're absolutely in the zone then.
Yeah, that's 3 out of 3. Let's go.
and also to show how much actually the fire dagger means in time. You can climb this whole tower, get the fire dagger, and kill the tarantula, and only be like 45 seconds behind.
Yeah, literally the entire... It takes about 3.5 minutes to climb the tower, and even with manipulation, not doing the tower is only about 45 seconds faster. So just having the fire dagger, even in a manipulated fight, saves minutes.
2 out of 3.
I'm 4 out of 4 right now. I actually noticed the crab moving in a bit of a weird position there for me, so I made sure that I was able to get rid of that before it had a chance to get close to me. And we're also going to pick up the camo armor because it grants us a bit of an attack boost later on. So it's a nice little item to have. It's not too important, but it's convenient. And since we're there anyway, it's actually worth it to pick it up. And that brings us to one of the last cities that we're actually going to be getting to. We're gonna buy a few spells here, specifically Bravery, which is a defense boosting spell that we're gonna need for the final boss later on. And then we're gonna talk to Rachi, the richest man in town right here. He understands that we're warriors, and he's got this treasure that he's been looking to get. In the dungeon north of here, there's a ruby apple, and he's willing to pay us very handsomely in order to pick up this apple and get it to him. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that for him. We also hear of the glass shop owner, who's apparently in some financial trouble. So you know, maybe along the way we can help him out a little bit as well. So onto the Ruby Cave. This is actually where my capsule monster is at, the fire capsule monster. I think I'll be picking it up on after teleporting out, just to try and get it as late as possible, because he's actually kind of a handful on his next boss fight. Not really sure if he would be worth it to pick it up now. I don't think he is.
I think he is, because he can deal a good amount of damage there, because he's also fire.
That's a good point. Yeah, either way, too late now. We actually didn't route out these capsule monsters too specifically. We were like yesterday. We were like, oh, this could be a cool incentive as well. We completely forgot about it. So we actually didn't plan much ahead in that sense.
Do we have time for another donation?
Yeah, sure.
We have a donation by Silvari and Yuki for €2 saying, "Hey Saito, beware of the hungry crocodiles."
Another reference, I assume?
Yep. A hungry crocodile is always, or a friend of mine always has to feed his hungry crocodile when we're at card gaming events.
Right.
So finding a hungry crocodile is something really good.
So this is Tarantula, the hardest boss in the run. He is no joke. Let's just say it like that. He can paralyze us, he can poison us, he deals a ton of damage, he can summon companions, which is actually a really good thing. He can basically force us into a position where we have to heal. He can heal himself. All in all, just a very, very nasty boss right here. So we're going to use a combination of Big Boomers and the Fire Dagger to try and deal as much damage as we can. Maxim getting paralyzed here is not ideal, because now I actually have to try and heal him out of that. We do have strong on 2 of the characters, just so that we have some healing options. But even then, this fight can go bad very quickly, so we'll see how things go. There's another Big Boomer. Yeah, in an ideal world, he'd just keep summoning companions. Or dealing damage in such a way that it actually benefits us, but more often than not, it hurts us more than it helps.
Directly attacking guy without poisoning him, that is the dream.
Yeah. And no paralysis and no poison, and then, yeah, that'd be great. I'm not getting that, though. I'm getting...
Worst thing that can happen now for me is him attacking guy and paralyzing him. But summoning a companion is perfect.
Yeah, so there you saw him doing 600 damage at the start. That's just something that I couldn't do because I didn't get the setup on the previous boss fight. Yeah, I'm actually trying to get Guy kind of low on health, just to make it a little bit more likely for him to actually build up the IP that I need.
Have you explained how IP actually works? The lower you are on hit points, the more IP you get.
Yeah. Just like Saito just said. Yeah, this fight is mainly just about trying to survive.
Spiderweb is actually the hardest attack he can do, and it only slows our attack speed.
Okay, so I've got him in the stronger range, which essentially means that from this point onward, there's about a 50% chance that he's going to heal himself. Now, if you don't have the Fire Dagger, he will out-heal you. That's the main reason why it helps.
That was a perfect fight. I also got out with a guy at almost max hit points. IP points.
Yeah, so this is what I meant with, you know, this fight matters, and this is completely just RNG. Yeah, I got through the fight, I didn't die, so that's pretty big. Well, I will say, I'm glad that it's been such a close race so far.
So far, so good. I mean, both of us had some good and some bad points here, but really enjoying this race currently. At least this time I'm not dying to catfish 4 times in a row.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be taking my detour now to pick up my my capsule monster, whereas Saito is going to be doing that later. So from this point onward, it'll look as if I'm going to be behind a little bit, but looks can be deceiving here. We really won't know until the very end.
Especially, you're going with the usual strats farming the scorpions?
Probably, yes.
Okay, then I will go with the core grind. So there is a random and a safe grind possibility, which are red cores. Red cores give an insane amount of experience, but they have a really high physical armor, but really low magical armor. And they run away really frequently. So seeing 4 cores does not mean you kill 4 cores. It means most likely you kill 1, maybe 2 cores. There was a manipulation where 3 cores stayed, but you had to go in 4 combats to get that. That even there is a core encounter and you kill the cores. And we need to kill around 4 to 5 cores to make it a good level. Both grinds does have advantages and disadvantages, where the core grind helps you quite a lot because you're on a higher level for the clown fight, and you have a really safe clown fight because clowns are actually as scary as Tarantula because you never know what they're doing, and Tia is too fast to do a good healing, but she has to do the healing. And there is sometimes a speed tie where you don't know who is faster, but most likely the clown wins. So then the clown does have 2 turns attacking if you're unlucky Tia, and he will kill Tia with that because you're on a super low level.
Yeah, like I said, I just picked up my capsule monster. The capsule monsters are essentially a NPC party member that you can pick. There's 8 of them 7 of them in total. 8. Either one of them. We're going to be picking up the 2 that are available up to this point in the game. The fire capsule monster, Blaze, and the neutral capsule monster, Fumi. You basically have them for all of the elements. You've got them for light and dark, and then the neutral one. So yeah, 7 in total. But Blaze is a little bit earlier, or technically Fumi is a little bit earlier. But Blaze was in that cave, and since I was there, it was just easier to get it done now. Whereas Fumi is actually, he's going to teleport back to Aloons and do some backtracking there.
Yep. You have to find a secret forest, which is not that secret, but it is kind of secret.
So you're basically, probably Blaze is a little bit slower, all things considered, but we figured it'd be fun to actually do something different from each other here.
Yeah, I think Fumi depends really strong on the overworld. If you have a horrible overworld, then it might be close, and otherwise I think...
I think Blaze is almost always slower.
Yeah. Around like 15 to 30 seconds.
Okay, here we go. We also go do a bunch of shopping for all of the late game equipment that we're going to be needing to beat the final boss later.
And now there's the farming part for me. The thing I want to see is either a pack of 4 goblins or a lot of cores. Like, this is an okay pack with some goblins, but at least there are 4 of it. They give a decent amount of experience, and that's basically all I need, getting a couple of levels. But
Yeah,
perfectly I would find some cores. Like, this is a core.
Yeah, so he has to kill, I think, 4 cores in total. And that's the first one, and that's already going to be quite a big deal for Saito to have that kill.
As you see here, like a lot of levels. And that's just 1 core.
Yeah, so about 4 full pack Scorpions are about the equivalent of 1 core. So I think the route that I use is a bit more consistent, but it could potentially be slower and it could potentially be faster. This is really where RNG is going to decide what ends up happening.
This is a good pack, don't worry. These Regal Goblin kind of looking things does not have 500 hit points. They are way weaker here.
Oh, that's a really good encounter.
Oh no, yes? Yes? Yes?
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, you still got 1.
Yep, that's
already-
decently...
You're already on 2. That's pretty fast.
I'm on a really good pace with the farming. With the
Yeah.
core farming,
Yeah,
this is a decent pace.
Yeah, with the RNG being the way that it is, it's really going to come down to what happens. Now, I won't menu flash on the way, because, you know, if I do get a core encounter, it would be nice, but...
1.
Yeah, you might be able to beat me now, but just because of that good RNG like that. You're in
Just
a
1.
Okay, still, you're in a really good position.
Yep. Okay. I will also now enter the shrine.
Yeah, this is where Saito already finished up his grind, where I still have to do that.
But I still have to do the shopping.
Fair enough. So it's really going to come down to small differences. Saito did get a very good grind, which is generally an indication that he might at this point be ahead based off of the RNG. Also, I'm messing up this puzzle. It's been too long. Yeah, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. At least I know that I won't completely screw up now.
And one of the things that happens in our races is Crrool actually forgetting to pick up the cold rapier, which is one of the most important items for the upcoming boss.
So, Salan here, she actually has the escape spell, which allows us to now just escape out without having to worry about it again. A little bit of a puzzle that we have to go through here.
Yeah.
Move the platform over.
Well, the platform puzzle there is basically saying One of the levers is pushing the puzzle horizontal and the other vertical.
Oh crap, I done goofed there.
Well, I don't know why I picked up the mind ring.
Trying to open up my notes for the upcoming menu real quick, and that kind of messed me up a little bit. So this is a color block puzzle. On the tile, it'll tell you exactly how many tiles of a specific color you can pick up, and you have to turn all of them yellow. I'm going to quickly save here. And coming up next is the Clowns fight. Now, the Clowns is another one of those pretty RNG-heavy bosses. They can really go in just about any direction. So we'll see how the fight is going to go.
Well, I totally forgot to buy antidotes, so I do have the poison dot on me.
So I'm going to go for a little bit of a risky strat here, trying to buff up Maxim using the Glacial Blast and trying to get the kill a little bit faster. The clowns work in such a way that you have to kill both clowns at the exact same time in order to actually kill them. So after the fight, we'll actually see them respawn just at the place that they're at right now. The color of the clown actually tells us what their weakness is. So this clown has a blue and or a dark blue and light blue outfit, which means he's weak to water and ice. The next boss will have an outfit that is red and orange, standing for lightning and fire, which is its weakness.
And yeah, the biggest thing for us to gain and lose a little bit of time is keeping the hit points of our characters actually kinda low.
Yeah, it's really trying to, well, for you especially, it's really trying to balance the hit points we have with just about everything else going on. Now I'm going to play the fight a little bit safe. So Saito can actually go for a bit of a more risky strat here, because he got those extra levels from the red cores earlier.
Yeah, Crrool really has to go really safe here because he's 5 levels down on me, so I can go really aggressive here, which is basically the thing why I prefer the core grind. It is not safer or not faster by any means, but it just helps you to do this fight, and this fight is in horror.
Blaze coming in clutch with 150 damage tail attack.
Yeah, told you. He's a good boy.
Not quite enough to get the kill, but definitely helping out here. Seeing somebody behind the tech desk cheering for me right now. Or I think he's cheering for the fact that I'm slightly ahead. It's really a close race, honestly. Like I said, Saito is ahead a bit in levels, and I will have to do some extra grinding, which means I might actually still be behind a little bit. But he has to do some additional stuff like picking up his capsule monster. He has to do his shopping still. So it's really hard to tell at this point who's actually ahead. And
I have to do the shopping still. I haven't done the shopping.
Yeah, right. So definitely, it's really anyone's game at this point. And it might very much come down to the final boss, so...
Which the final boss takes a lot of time setting up to survive all his attacks. And in these attacks, he can kill you. He can kill you quite frequently. So this is really, really scary.
Yeah, so I'm getting a little bit unlucky here. I was actually hoping for an attack on Maxim.
I'm also getting really close on Maxim. He's
Well, he's just not attacking Maxim for me. He was targeting everything on Tia.
He killed Maxim for me.
Oh, that's annoying. You still have your miracle?
Whoa. Fireball on Maxim? No. He wants Tia dead. Which is not good because Tia needed another level.
Well, at least you got through the fight. That's still a big win in and of itself.
And that is why the levels really were important here.
Unfortunately, Blaze escaped at the start of this fight here, which is actually not ideal. Kind of want him to stick around.
And now we're actually up for the scariest part of the whole run, I would say, because if you make an oopsie in the menuing, you're in for a treat. Because then you have to reset, go to Gades again, do the setup again. And you 100% don't want to do that.
This actually happened to me in our practice run earlier today. It's not fun when it happens, that's for sure.
So I'm going for the revive here.
Okay, so I got the clowns as well now. So now Saito is going to be going on the way to Fumi to pick up the capsule monster he missed, or that I had to get earlier.
Like here's the super secret path. And like totally non-suspicious tile right here. And I am a believer. So if I'm a believer, maybe Fumi will get to me.
So we're going to return the swords to the king. He actually just sent us on a quest to get this sword. And this is where we're going to get the news of a man who single-handedly destroyed the neighboring city of Gordovan. And that is where our final boss is going to be.
Do we have time for a small donation?
Sure, go ahead.
We have a 10-year donation by our own Badmeester Mark, who says, Crrool, go get Daddy's money.
Yeah, a few of the people on or from BSG actually made bets on this race to see who would win, so... like I said, I'm happy that at the very least, whichever happens, we've managed to make it a close race till the end.
What?
A bunch of chanting going on around us right now. It's pretty cool.
Oh. I think I need to hear the Saito's chant one more. So the Saito crowd's still there? Does not seem like it. I love you guys.
So yeah, we're
Whoops.
one thing we hadn't mentioned yet, but here we're gonna get a bunch of statues, and the statues are basically our main heal item for the final boss fight. Now we want to have ideally at least 20, but because of the catfish manipulation from before, we can easily get that. So we just buy a few extras just for the safety of it, and then it's onto the final tower for me.
Well, I totally messed up shopping there.
Well,
when the tech crowd is actually happy when you're messing something up, that's exactly the spot what I like.
yeah, I don't know if you're... I think you're still ahead, though, because you got really good luck on your core grind. And that's... I mean, that's pure RNG. There's not much we can do about it. But we'll see. My grind is actually coming up. We want to try and get level 23 on Ceylon. so that she actually has the health to survive ahead, hopefully. Yeah, I can make that up. Here I can actually check the level. So I need to gain 4 levels at this point. Now finding these enemies and fighting them isn't actually that difficult. I just won. That's a shame.
That is where the biggest part of Crrool's surrounding is. Like, you have a big chance of getting a big amount of scorpions. Like 3 or 4 is the usual amount. Like having just 1 is super rare.
I think you've got this though.
Well, there still is Gades.
There is still Gades. Gades can do things, but...
And I have to fix my horrible equipment right now.
I am out of big humors.
Oh, and I did not lower the bridge.
That's gonna be interesting then. I want to get at least this. This should give me an extra level on Cellon, which I believe means that I'll only be 1 level short.
I actually also need to farm.
Okay, so I'm level 23. This is really, really low for Cellon, and I'm actually gonna check the status here.
Well, lucky me, just 1 statue I wasted there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do an extra fight here. At least get Tia at that level up. This does waste a little bit of time, but I need that level up in order to make the final boss remotely safe.
Okay, no. Fire dagger.
Oh, I do have to actually kill a few here. This is really like the least ideal situation for me to be in. I do think this, yeah, this should work. Okay, I'm done grinding. So Saito will have I want to say like half a minute lead going into Gades, which means it's really just going to come down to the final boss. Actually, you already did your menuing, didn't you?
I did the menuing, yes.
Okay, yeah, then it's probably more like a minute. So.
Well, still, Gades has a variance of a big amount of time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Runs have been made and broken on the Gades fight. I want to say on average it's about a 6-minute fight, 6 to 7 minutes. And
around that, yes.
The difference between a good fight and a really bad fight is like, I want to say probably 2 minutes. So
I would even go with 3 minutes, because depending on how much you have to heal up and revive, that can take a whole lot of time.
Yeah,
and if all of your girls missing the bravery buffs, you have to bravery them again, and that loses a very big amount of time.
yeah, I got my menuing done as well now. So I think we're taking slightly different paths through this dungeon. Saito took a path where it allows him to save a little bit closer to the boss fight, but it does lose you a few tiles in terms of movement. Yeah, Saito is about to start the boss fight. Time will be, or will not be, as
Give me a little second. If you watch my screen now very closely, you will see the unlock twice. Well, I did not get it. Never mind me then. Well, if you... oh god. If you mash the accept button or the skip the text box really fast, you are able to see it twice or even thrice.
I didn't get it either. Okay, looks good. So this is Gades, the final boss of this particular run. Time will be once we get the Gades blade after the leveling screen. So it'll actually be like we do have to actually sit through the entire leveling screen.
One-shotting Maxim.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a really scary move for me. Okay, I lived. So we get double bravery up, which boosts our defenses. I haven't dropped his attack yet, so we're still not in the clear. The first few turns are all super, super dangerous. Battle Lust. No, we're gonna statue with her. Battle Lust like that. Okay, we get another Destructo Wave.
Oh boy.
Oh, you're in a tough spot there.
I'm a really tough spot here.
Yeah, this is what we mean with the final boss can change the outcome of this run very significantly still. So we'll see if Saito can pull through, but he's not in an easy spot here. So right now I should be mostly in the clear. You can still see that, you know, that the Gades can do a huge amount of damage here. So it's really important that I just statue every turn, that I make sure that everybody stays healed. And yeah, we'll see. The guy is completely set up for me. Ooh, that was close. That was much closer than I'd like. Yeah, this guy is actually as strong as one of the last bosses in the game, which is why, you know, he is actually beatable, but it is incredibly difficult to do that at this point in the run.
Got Maxim back up. Finally, I can start the setup again.
Yeah, these Destructo Waves are actually a really nice IP boost here. And that's another thing that matters. It matters whether he does physical attacks or special attacks, or whether physical attacks or Destructo Wave. IP management matters. It's all part of this fight, basically. Yeah, now it's just waiting and seeing who gets the kill first here.
With Crrool being a good amount ahead now. Because he can start dealing tons of damage now. And I still have to put the menace and the weak one
That
up.
was 114 though. Tia has like, or I think my lowest is 116 HP, and that is still a damage range because I got I didn't get as much leveling as I would have liked. Yeah, another thing. Ooh, that's nasty. Another thing we did here is we actually put an item on Guy, the Undead Ring, which actually causes Guy to deal super effective damage, which is why Guy is dealing so much more than everybody else.
I have to go with really weird strats to get back.
Here comes another Destructo wave. 114 to Selen surviving on 2 HP. This is how close it is. This guy has 7,500 HP. So it takes quite a bit of time to whittle that down. We just try to spam IP attacks as much as possible. We've done 2 weak points to drop his defense. We've done 2 menaces to drop his attack. We've boosted our defense twice. And just the combination of all of that gives us just enough that we can actually tank most of his hits. Ooh, that is nasty. Saito is actually getting bullied by this boss right now. This can happen. It's really RNG at this point. Now, luckily there are consistent ways to come back from it. Oh boy. Well, at least you got the statue off, which I guess is still something. But this is not looking good for Saito.
This is a horrible encounter.
Oh yeah, this is a really bad fight on your end.
Because I have to start using statues with persons that are not supposed to do statues. And because I actually did not expect to do that much statues and regain, I did not sort my inventory correct there. So it's a lot of scrolling for me also.
Yeah, this is also why those statues just matter so much. You cannot heal this much without those statues consistently. There are IP moves which will give you enough healing capabilities, but you have to basically get enough IP throughout the fight, and that's really, really difficult. Hey, he's dead for me. So get ready on time. Yeah, this takes like 30 seconds, but we'll get through it. And time.
Let's go, Saito!
So let's see how Saito is going to be finishing up this fight. I should say 110 is a really good time for just having done Catfish Manip.
Let's go, Saito! Let's go, Saito!
Yeah,
So-
this is really
I did another safety menace and everything, so from here on the only thing that can happen is running out of statues now.
Yeah, and you had more than enough to make it work.
Yep.
So the recovery that Saito did is actually it's not as easy as it looks. You really have to know your order of characters and whatnot. But he's making it work, and he's able to recover from it. But this is just the kind of thing that RNG on this final boss can do to you.
That's why I like the manipulation so much.
Yeah, there's actually a manipulation for this fight. The world record manipulates even this fight. It even manipulates it so that I think 2 of your characters are dead by the end of the fight.
1 or 2, depending on how clutch you want to do it.
Yeah, and that's just to save time on the leveling screen. Even there is still time saves.
Oops.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad thing for you to menace there.
Well, that is...
It loses a little bit of time, but at this point it should be impossible for him to kill you, basically.
If I hadn't done a menace there, and he did a 114 on Selen, she would be dead. Well, lucky I did it. He really hates me today.
Yeah, absolutely.
6 statues left.
6 turns, and you already dealt quite a bit of damage there, so I think you should still be okay. You get another boost on Guy. It doesn't do much, but Selen she doesn't deal that much damage without the boost. Okay, there we go.
Well, there it is.
The time is coming up for Saito as well.
And now the hardest part, I have to do all the leveling by hand.
Yeah.
so
So
it's really,
difficult.
really hard. Just a bit. And time.
Saito, fantastic run, dude.
Fantastic, man.
That was a really close race up until the very end, and I think that
Well-
goes to show.
That shows how dangerous this boss actually is.
Yeah, and it also shows what can happen even in a run like this. I mean, we were hoping to put up a close race. We both got a really decent time actually, both sub 115, which considering what can happen, I think neither of us had any deaths, did we? You didn't either, did you?
No death, no.
So both deathless. Like, I think we can be very proud of this. Yeah, very cool run. And I think we're just gonna let them get back to doing their thing. I believe Yoshi's next. That's a cool run.
Definitely, you have to watch that.
So
Sadly, I have to drive home, but I will not watch it on my phone while I'm driving. I will absolutely not do that.
That's very clever. Don't watch streams and drive at the same time.
That is indeed what you have to do.
You can
But
have it up as audio though.
I will have it as an audio, and my girlfriend telling me what is happening right now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys, everybody, and right back at you guys to the hosting.
And that was an amazing race between Saito and Crrool. That was nail-biting until the end. Gades can be a problem sometimes, so it was still great to watch. For now, I'm signing off. I'm going to give my hosting shift to my legs, I think. And upcoming run will be Yoshi's Crafted World by RDV versus the World. Enjoy!